Hello and welcome. My name is Leah Kopke, and this is my 3D modeling podcast, Ambient 3D Animations. Today we're going to be going over the array object. I feel like it's often overlooked, but it can make some really cool effects. So we're going to go over that generator today. So let's go ahead and jump into Cinema 4D and get started. So here we are inside of Cinema 4D. I had created this just to show an example of what it kind of looks like when you're working with the array tool. So I had added these spheres to the array, and you can see that I can create these really interesting waves. So we're going to go into greater depth of what exactly is happening and what all these settings do and how to work with it. So let's go ahead and open up a new file over here. So what I'll first do is you can drop in any kind of object. In the last one, I used a sphere. You can 3D model something. I'm just going to add this in here for right now, make it a little bit smaller. You can find your array in a few places. If you hold a click on here, you can find your array right over here. You can also find it under the Create menu under Generator. Here's our array. And as always, you can search for it with Shift-C and just look for array. And we're working with the generator array today, so you could find right here. You can even drop it into your UI. And in order to have this work, you'll see our array is in the center at the origin. But in order to have this work, we actually need to add something within the hierarchy of it. So I'll drag and drop this platonic in here, and you'll begin to see that this is working. So I'll go ahead and press play. Nothing's really happening like before. So let's click on the array and see what the settings are. The very first one is the radius. So if I go ahead and increase the radius, you can see that this is just the distance from the axis of the array, the center point, which is in the same area as the origin. So we can set this up here. Copies are how many copies of our platonic there will be around here. So I can increase this. Now we have 30 platonics. We can adjust the amplitude. And your amplitude is the distance of the wave, but in the y direction. So we're creating a wave similar to what we had done in this first example. You can see how all of these look like waves. So the amplitude is the direction this is moving up in the y direction. Maximum movement, so like right at the top here. And I'll go back over here, so that's what's being controlled when we adjust the amplitude. You can also adjust the frequency, which is the rate in which this is moving. So I'll change this to 2. And now you can see we have some movement here. Our array frequency is how many waves there are in the total array. So right now we have 10, that's a lot. I'm going to change this down to 5. And now since there's fewer, it feels like there's a little bit more well-defined waves in here. The last option at the bottom is render instance. Now this just helps prevent your computer from lagging. The more polygons you have in your scene, the slower your computer will run in general and also render. So when you turn this on, instead of having more polygons in your scene, Cinema 4D is just referencing the original object for all of the additional other ones. So that reduces your polygon count from being multiplied by all of these individual platonics to just being like you only have one in your scene. So it prevents your computer from lagging. Just for fun, to do a comparison between the polygon count with render instance on versus it off, I want to go ahead and show this quickly. So you can see your polygon count using Control-I inside of Cinema 4D. So right now I have my array here, And we have render instance off, so I'll hit Control I. And with that off, you can see my polygon count is 620. So we are slowing down our scene a little bit compared to the alternative of using render instance. And we'll use Control I again. And now we only have 20 polygons in our scene with the render instance on. So that's the difference in how much memory you're saving. That's all of the settings here today for the array generator inside of Cinema 4D. It's super fun to play around with and adjust the settings, so I'm happy to show it with everyone today. And if you found this tutorial helpful, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and ring the bell. I have a ton of tutorials on mesh modeling. I've covered all the mesh modeling tools. I've covered most of the generators at this point, so you can check out those tutorials. Each week I come up with another tutorial going over another tool inside of Cinema 4D. So if that's something you're interested in, I hope you'll stop by my YouTube channel again in the future. It's always great to see your friendly faces, and I'll see you here next time on Ambient 3D Animations.